Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and today I have an anatomy lesson I want to share with you based on the book called Muscles and Bones by Charles Kovacs. So we're now deep into our anatomy unit. This is Waldorf inspired, and we're going to be using about 4 chapters in this book to create this 2-page spread lesson that includes 1 illustration. So we have the chapters on the 4 elements of the body, and this goes over our body and the 4 elements that are similar to the 4 elements that you see on the planet. So we have air, we have fire, we have earth or solid, and we have liquid. And so I love the way that it begins this chapter in a more imaginative way, thinking about sitting on the edge of a lake with the trees and the wind in the trees, and then you are on a rock with a bonfire. And so you can now visualize all 4 of the elements prior to moving into the lesson and seeing those 4 elements within your body. In this chapter, number 8, talking about the changing solid body, we're talking about how often our body is renewed. And so we breathe in air every few moments, and so the air within our body is renewed more quickly than the warmth of our body that's renewed through the food that we eat. And then it takes even longer for the water within your body to be replaced, and then the parts of your body that are solid take even longer. So we can imagine that over several years, for instance, after 7 years, our entire body has been renewed with new minerals and new food and new vitamins and new water and new air. And yet, the one thing that stays the same is our spirit. And so we may like different things over the years, but the essence of who we are stays the same, even though every other aspect of our body gets renewed. Then in chapter 9, we're talking about regulating warmth and talking about warm-blooded humans or warm-blooded animals compared to cold-blooded animals. And then chapter 10 is on warmth and clothing. So we are doing all 4 of those chapters into 2 lessons, and we're going to be doing this over a 2-page spread with written content on one side, using the onion skin for our illustration, and then written content on the next page. And then we're also using this book by Welcome to the Museum series as some additional information on bones in particular and bone marrow. We're starting out with the illustration, and this is a quote that I absolutely love. It says, "There is no movement without warmth," and we're going to title our page with that quote using our Lyra color pencils. Now, I make a mistake, and I am using the onion skin, but I do it on the wrong side of the onion skin. There is a smooth side and a textured side, and I can't understand why nothing was sticking until I realized I was on the wrong side. So I erased my title, went to the rough side, and started with this quote, which is our title, "There is no movement without warmth." And I decided to do an illustration that looks more like it's out of an earth science main lesson block or mineralogy main lesson block. Actually, we've done something similar in the past when we're talking about the water cycle, and that is to have the sun, the clouds, mountains, rivers, and the water to depict this water cycle as one aspect of the title of this illustration, but also one aspect of what we are talking about during these 4 chapters. The other part that this illustration makes sense for, considering the content that we're writing, is that our bodies are a reflection of this planet. And so the same composition that is in our bodies is also on the planet. So the planet is roughly 2/3 water, and so are our bodies. And the water on the planet is predominantly salt water, and same with our bodies. And the thing is, we still need to drink fresh water. We can't just go to the ocean and drink water. And yet there is also fresh water on the planet. And if it isn't coming from a freshwater source, we have this beautiful water cycle that takes water from these oceans and it moves it with the help of the sun. So you need warmth to move this water from a state of being in the ocean in the liquid form before it travels into the atmosphere in the form of vapor, where it stays in the clouds, and that's where a lot of shifting can happen. Clouds can move across the planet, and then you have precipitation in the form of rain or snow. And then you have the whole water cycle move again. And every time water is moving through the land, it's transforming the land, and it's picking up minerals as it goes and depositing them back into the ocean. And so we can see this cycle, which is reflective in our own body, because our blood is this conveyor belt of our nutrients and our food and our water throughout our body, and the air that we breathe throughout our body. And so seeing this beautiful holistic depiction in an illustration, seeing the world that we're in reflected in our own bodies, is an incredibly connecting way to bring these lessons together, the ones that we've done in the past in mineralogy, as well as the ones that we're doing right now in anatomy. So this illustration is for basically 4 chapters or 4 lessons. And the written content for this page is primarily talking about the connection between the way our bodies are composed, the composition of our bodies compared to the composition of the planet. And then we also have another page that's speaking about the other aspects of our body in the sense of our warmth body, the food that we eat and how it transforms into heat that's then constantly being renewed throughout the day. We also have the air that's being renewed, the liquid that's being renewed, and of course our whole bodies that are being renewed over time. Those topics are going to also be written out in the content for this lesson. So it's just one illustration that I feel brings a lot of these different aspects together before we move on to a brand new topic. So here's a final look at this lesson with our illustration and our written content. I hope that you enjoyed this look at our anatomy lesson for our Waldorf main lesson block. Don't forget to check out the blog post that accompanies this video for more information, as well as links to all of the resources we are using for our anatomy main lesson block. You can find the link to that blog post in the description box below. And if you'd like to see how we're homeschooling on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram and now on TikTok at Pepper and Pine.